All right, good afternoon. My name is Sinan, and I'm owner and founder of SinsVinyls. And today we're going to show you how to install the rear aggressive taillight vinyls on my Infiniti G35 Coupe. For instance, the things you're going to need some soapy water. Okay, that you apply that to the vinyl itself and to the taillights. It gives you that free movement to go ahead and align it correctly with the taillight. Second off, you're going to need a heat gun. The heat gun pretty much allows, when you apply the heat to the vinyl, it's going to stick to the lens of the tail light. And then third off, you're going to need my vinyls. This is how you're going to get them packaged just like that. It's going to be a piece of tape holding it together. I'll cut that tape off and show you the vinyls. This is just an option here. What I like to do, since the vinyls itself just covers the light, and what I did, I tinted the whole taillight, both taillights, with VHT nightshade. Just it took me 30-40 minutes. It took longer to mask it than it did to actually get it done. And finally, you're just going to need like a debit card or a credit card could actually work. Just make sure you put a towel around it so it does not scratch the tail lights. But professional use is a little bit better. One thing I highly recommend is, if you've never installed vinyl, do not install it yourself. Have a professional install it. Your friend is not a professional, okay? So have somebody who is a professional with a business of its own to install the vinyl for you if you don't want to take the precautions of this, okay? So let's go ahead and start with phase one. Alright, so phase one was getting the vinyls unwrapped. So the vinyls, there they are. Pretty much your size to fit, you go ahead, that's how they're placed on, okay? So first thing you want to do, one thing I recommend is cleaning the lenses themselves. So let me go ahead and start with that. There you go. You want to pick up any dirt and grime that's left over. Okay, phase two. Alright, so when it comes to phase two, you'll see that the vinyl comes in like rolled up. So one thing I recommend, you can step on each corner. Usually having someone else to help you would actually be another good cause. So you just want to start at the corner here, get the vinyl peeled off. Once you get peeled off, you just kind of want to spray that. So once you have it sprayed off, it's going to oppose to sticking into itself, and that's what you really want, because you don't want it sticking to itself like that. And after that, you can go ahead and flip it over, place it down there. There you have the beginnings of that. Alright, so phase three, after you got your vinyl nice and soaked up like it is now, you want to go ahead and do the same thing to the taillight itself. Once you get it nice and soaked, you're good to go. Go ahead and place the vinyl on there. So when you place the vinyl, you can see how like the fitment is on point. All right. Yeah, as you see right now, we do have the taillight on. The reason why we have the taillight on is for the reason you can see where they exactly place the things. So with the vinyl being out of place just a tiny bit, what you want to do is go back, soak up some more water on there. You can pick it up, move it again. Alright, so after getting phase 3 complete with actually putting the vinyl on, as you see, that was the hardest part. It took me maybe 7 minutes to get it aligned. Once you get it aligned, simply all you have to do is apply low level heat, okay? Not high level heat. If you put high level heat and you start getting close to the vinyl, it's going to burn the vinyl, and you're going to have a very distinct scratch onto it, and it's not going to look that well. So what I want to bring up to your attention, once you do get it placed, you're going to have to add some water. So you want to pick up just by a little line, like that much, spray some water, and put it back down, and then go ahead and put some heat to it. So throughout this, just go ahead and watch exactly how I do it. It may take a second for you to get in tune with it and how to do it, but professional installation, highly recommended, alright? Alright, as you go ahead and do that, you want to fold back the extra vinyl right here. And once you do fold back, you get a nice little crease end right there, and it shows you where you're going to have to cut off, and it has a good mark right here, and that's where you'll cut. Alright, and the center of gravity itself will make the water drop down, so this is where all your moisture is going to go at. And as you can see, how it's all building up as of right now. So that's why you always want to if you don't get the exact placement on where you want it, you want to spray some more water, move the vinyl around. But as you see, the vinyl is sticking to its surroundings fairly easily, alright? And you see there will be little bubbles here. I don't know if the camera can catch that. Right here is one. And you see how the moisture comes out when you press down? So that's all it is just moisture building up in there. And as soon as you can do that by a finger, and it'll get it right out. Alright, so to bring up to your attention, as we did this side right here, it's nice and smooth now, everything's good and clear. The only issue that we have now is after you do one side, the other side tends to dry. So what I mean by that, when you pull the vinyl, it starts sticking, it's not freely moving anymore. So that is a big issue, especially that's how you're going to get a lot of bubbles that you can't get out. So what you want to start doing is going ahead and spraying that down again. One thing I would highly recommend is if you have a garage or something, pull it in to the garage so you can do this, because if you're doing it outside, pollen, dust, and everything will pick up, and you're going to have just really ugly, unattractive bubbles into your vinyl, and that's not something we want. So let's go ahead and spray that again. Just go ahead and just place it back. So once you have the correct placement, it's just spraying it down, putting it back where it was.
Nice.
And as of right now, you can see what I mean. You don't hear it's sticking, it's freely moving, and that's what you want. This makes it a lot easier for you. Alright, and now as you see the excess, this is where the tail light ends, right here, but the excess is about 1/4 inch. So the reason why that is if you start to mess up, or something like that, you have room for error, okay? So that's why the vinyls are a little bit bigger than what they should be. Every install, every vinyl, it's going to be a little larger than it should. Only for the reason is you can cut excess, but you can't put more. You can't put more vinyl in. So that's why it is a little larger. And like I said, from the bottom views, you can see from here, it's correctly adjacent with it. The only thing is all the moisture is building up there now. As you can see, all these seeping drops. Once that is dried off, that's where you're going to use your high sense of heat. And when you get to high sense of heat, as vinyl, it curls up to its surroundings. So as that's curved, you're going to heat it up with heat and just push in, and there you go. And that's all that's going to fix that up, just like that. So before we get started on that, let's go ahead and finish up the remaining set of the vinyl. And as you see, it starts to take the form of its own shape once you apply the heat and get the bubbles out. The more liquid or more watery soap, actually, and I do recommend you put soap in there, because what it does, it helps stick to it a little easier, and it actually keeps the vinyl to it a little better, so it's when you apply heat, it sticks even easier. And you see how I'm not applying direct heat like that? The reason is if you apply direct heat like that, what it's going to do is it's just going to burn the vinyl, okay? And that's the last thing you want to do. So that's what I do. I apply some side heat. As you see, the side heat, you know, puts it towards the vinyl, so it's not direct heat, so it's not burning it or anything. The only time you want to put direct heat is when you put it on high, going to go around the edges, but you'll see when we get to there. Alright, you always want to add moisture. You know, the vinyl dries rather quickly, especially with the temperature outside and the wind that's blowing in. See how exactly direct the vinyl is with the side? So once you get that heated up, it kind of soaks itself in. So there's hardly any room for, I mean, you have room for error up here. So with that 1/4 inch, you know, if you were to mess up, you know, you can always move it down a slight bit. But once you start moving it down a slight bit, you know, you're affecting the lights. So you want to make sure you spend your time getting it aligned correctly. Alright, now this is where you want to apply some direct heat, because this is where the majority of the liquid's at, therefore the vinyl won't stick. See, direct heat, I went ahead and made the vinyl stick because the heat is adding up. Alright, you don't want to let the heat sit there too long because it will burn the vinyl. It's the last thing you need to do. What you want to do is kind of pull up just a bit so you can make the vinyl flat with the top. What you're going to do with a razor blade, you're going to cut that right off. And as you see how it's getting the curvature of it now, all you have to do is just stamp the card in there. Alright, and right here we have a crinkle or an air bubble, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, you know, it's not that good. So what you want to do is simply just pull back a little bit. And once you pull back, spray some water in there. You just want to go back and as you see, that crinkle is no longer there. So if you see a crinkle like that or air bubble like that, you know, it's kind of annoying you, just do that. And cut is the last thing you want to do, okay? So the same story, you know, you kind of just want to smooth it out a little bit, get some of the moisture away. Smooth it out with a card first. Once you smooth it out with a card, you're going to apply some side heat, not direct heat, please. Please, please remember that. And you want to apply low side heat until you get these creases out, okay? You see how all the moisture is seeping out right now? There you go. And a lot of this can pretty much be done by hand. You don't need a card. The only time you need a card is when you're trying to get all the majority of the bubbles out. Now you want to apply slight direct heat, okay? Slight. And as you see, it's starting to sculpt to the bottom. As you get those bubbles out. And then what you want to do when they get too small for your fingers, just nip and tuck. You see how all the moisture's coming out now because it's been seeping up there and been holding there the whole time. On this side, you want to apply some direct heat. Alright, once you apply some of that direct heat, you know, go around with your finger. Alright, then you want to apply some direct heat, and as you see how it curls up? It just kind of connects itself. Alright, you want to do that after you get the wrinkles out, okay? You see I'm applying low direct heat and it's curling itself up, okay? There's no work there. Alright, after that, you want to take your card and kind of just push up on there, because what it's going to do is going to enable it to stick a little bit better. Alright? It kind of covers some of the lines that you see from the vinyl. So after that, you want to start direct heat on some of these. Watch out for your fingers, it does get hot rather quickly, and then when you're using, what you want to do is not apply direct heat for too long and then start pulling on it, because if you do that, actually let me show you a demonstration of what occurs here. From the top here, what I was doing earlier, because this is excess, I'm going to cut it off so it really does not bother me. Look, when you apply heat, you see what happens? It just peels right off. So you want to be very careful when you're doing that, alright?